Wow, not good news for Donald Trump at all. Ghislaine Maxwell's cellmate in Tallahassee is breaking her silence. And this cellmate says that Ghislaine Maxwell was telling other prisoners that she had dirt on Donald Trump. Ghislaine Maxwell was trying to position for a pardon under former President Biden, but Biden's DOJ did not want to hear at all from a convicted sex trafficker. But apparently Ghislaine was telling other prisoners that she's got the goods on Donald Trump. She hoped that Biden would use that against Donald Trump. Biden and Merrick Garland were like, we just can't have any communications with this convicted sex trafficker. But the question is what do some of these other prisoners know, number one? And number two, will they now get subpoenaed in a future Democratic controlled Congress? Or perhaps if Democrats hold shadow hearings, or should Democrats outmaneuver Republicans again to try to get subpoenas of these individuals to find out what Ghislaine may have been telling other prisoners? Let me tell you what Ghislaine told her cellmate in just a moment, but I also want to share with you how has the MAGA Republican talking points evolved per Donald Trump. Well, now they think if they go after Bill Clinton and other people who they claim are leftist politicians who went to Epstein Island, that that's going to somehow make Democrats scared, or it's going to delay the process in releasing the Epstein files. We don't give a crap. If Bill Clinton's in the files, so be it. No one's defending him. No one's protecting him. No one knows what the hell you're even talking about there. If he's in it, great. Get it out there. We want all the information to be out. Whether you're left, right, center, up, down, purple, green, blue, red, don't matter. Release the freaking files. That's what people are saying. Let's get into it. Daily Mail got the exclusive. I heard Ghislaine tell inmates that she had dirt on Donald Trump. They did this incredible expose, the Daily Mail, on Ghislaine Maxwell's life behind bars at Tallahassee before she was transferred to the minimum security facility in Texas. And the Tallahassee female prisoners are livid. They are revolting in that prison. Apparently, it is a mess right now after a convicted sex trafficker got moved to the minimum security facility. That prison apparently is going nuts right now. So here's what went down. One of the things that we are learning. So her cellmate is someone by the name of Catherine Kamali. Catherine Kamali was serving a sentence for selling methamphetamines, for selling drugs. She's talking about the conditions with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Maxwell's cellmate says, I was there with her. I was in B South at the Tallahassee facility. We were sleeping in these cubes next to each other. The bunk beds were right next to each other. And here's what I heard. I heard her tell another inmate that she heard dirt on Trump and that it was going to get her a pardon from Biden. We heard her boasting about that. But ultimately, I guess that Biden's camp just didn't want to go down that route with Ghislaine Maxwell. So Ghislaine, this just shows you what little credibility Ghislaine has. So Ghislaine's pivoted, and now with Donald Trump saying, I know all of this stuff about you, because she was with Donald Trump since the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. When she and Epstein split around 2004, she stopped talking to Donald Trump, but she knows this stuff. I mean, go back to the 1997 article from the Sunday Mirror, which used to be owned by her oligarch father, fraudster, Robert Maxwell, who died mysteriously on a yacht called the Lady Ghislaine while he was taking a piss off the side of it. And then it was discovered that he was stealing from pension funds. And that's how he was getting a lot of his money. But in this 1997 Sunday Mirror article, it talked about Ghislaine bringing Donald Trump young women. The real estate developer got young women from Ghislaine, and she would travel with Donald Trump and the young women. They called her a madam, Madame Ghislaine, bringing the real estate developer the young women he would put in his penthouse. That was from a 1997 article. This is important to note. Now, this article also talks about, one of the things it mentions is that Ghislaine had very bad hygiene, it said, and that she would smell, that she didn't like to use a lot of soap because she was afraid what would happen if she was taking showers. So it goes on to talk about her very poor hygiene as well. But, ultimately with Donald Trump and the MAGA turning point, why didn't Biden go after Ghislaine and get the information out? Because that was never what Biden and their DOJ was focused on. Perhaps maybe they should have they should have went in there and said, let's get all the dirt from Donald Trump, but it's illegal. It's unlawful. What Donald Trump is doing and how he's treating the DOJ and destroying it breaks every norm, rule, and manual. And, people could say, we wish Biden would have fought fire with fire. He didn't. And Ghislaine was angling for the pardon to give all the dirt on Trump. Again, think about all the stuff she knows, but Biden wouldn't take it. Now, this happens on the same day that the federal judge Engelmeyer issued a scathing order against the Trump regime. So the Trump regime, part of their strategy from late July to August is have Congress recess, give Donald Trump the space to try to bury and hide the Epstein files, redact Donald Trump's name, offer a deal to Ghislaine to shut her up, give her immunity, move her to this facility, minimum security facility in Texas, Camp Bryan prison in Texas, distract people with that, then pretend that we're trying to release the files by going after grand jury testimony when grand jury testimony cannot really lawfully even be made public, and there's nothing in the grand jury testimony. There's no there. It's not going to add anything. It took place over one day. There was not like a lot of witnesses called. It was like one DOJ FBI agent who testified based on hearsay, which you're allowed to do at grand juries. So there's not anything that's even going to be added, but the Trump regime wants to blame the judges. Oh, we tried to release the files, but the judge blocked it. The files you can release today, Donald and Pam Bondi. You could release today. That's the 300 gigabytes currently in your possession, custody, and control. That's what you warned Donald Trump in May. His name was all over. That's why you put 1,000 DOJ and FBI agents to redact and delete Donald Trump's name. That's why you went to Ghislaine Maxwell, gave her immunity in Tallahassee, spoke to her for 9 hours, gave her queen for a day treatment, and then moved her to a minimum security facility, dangled a pardon in front of her and in order to get her silence. You see what she was angling to do with Biden, but Biden wouldn't do it. Trump, boom, right away. What do you want me to do? Okay, bring you to the minimum security facility and you'll shut up. Okay, sounds good. Anyway, going back to the federal judge, Paul Engelmeyer, in a 31-page decision, he said basically the entire premise of the government wanting to release this grand jury testimony is demonstrably false, that the public would come away feeling disappointed and misled, that you would be re-victimizing the victims by misleading the public about what's in this grand jury testimony. There's nothing of import there at all. It's not allowed to be released in general, so cut it out. And if you want to release the files, you could release the files at any time. It's the 300 gigabytes currently in your possession, custody, and control. So with all of this going on, with now the news that Ghislaine's cellmate is saying Ghislaine has the dirt on Donald, and she wanted to give it to Biden for a pardon, but Biden wouldn't make a deal with a convicted sex trafficker. With Donald giving Ghislaine queen for a day immunity and moving her to a minimum security facility, likely in exchange for her silence. MAGA Republican James Comer, the Democrats outmaneuvered James Comer in the House Oversight Committee. They were able to get the House Oversight Committee to issue a subpoena for the Epstein files that are due in about 8 days. But what James Comer's now doing is he issued subpoenas to Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, James Comey, and like 10 other people. Not to Alex Acosta, who's the actual federal prosecutor who was in the first Trump administration. He was the Labor Department secretary. But in 2007, he's the guy who gave the non-prosecution agreement to Epstein. Alex Acosta doesn't get a subpoena, but Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, James Comer, all these people, they get subpoenas. Why? Because what James Comer wants to do. James Comer from the House Oversight Committee, he wants to be like, well, Bill Clinton isn't responding to the subpoena. Hillary, they're objecting. So if they're objecting, we should wait until the Epstein files from the DOJ come, until we hear what Bill Clinton has to say, what Hillary Clinton has to say. Look, no, you don't. If they're in the files, release the files. And we'll see their names on them, right? There's no one who's saying, oh my gosh, we need to help Bill Clinton here. It's a red herring. We don't care if he's on the list. He's on the list. If he's in Donald Trump's in office. Get that through your freaking skull. And he's the one covering up for a pedo sex trafficking ring right now. He's the one covering up the files. Just release the files. And if you want to try to subpoena all of these people, go through the legal process there, that's fine. But what the hell are you doing? Here's what James Comer has to say. Here, let's play that clip.
I just want to ask you one question, Mr. Chairman. The American people want to know what happened on Epstein Island. I'm not going to drop this topic. You've subpoenaed Bill Clinton. He's going to fight you tooth and nail. With the best lawyers in the country in some cases. Do you think Bill Clinton ever actually testifies? I think his date is what, October 12th?
Yes. I think we have a very good chance at this. I've never lost a subpoena battle. I've been chairman of that committee for a year and a half. This is the most challenging subpoena I've ever issued. But what makes this subpoena different is that the Democrats voted with Republicans. This is a bipartisan, congressionally approved subpoena. And I think that will hold a lot of weight in court. And you're absolutely right. He's going to have the best lawyers in America fighting us tooth and toenail on this. But the fact that this was voted on by Republicans and Democrats, because we're hearing from our constituents, everybody in America wants to know what went on at Epstein Island. And we've all heard reports that Bill Clinton was a frequent visitor there. So he's a prime suspect to be deposed by the House Oversight Committee. So hopefully we'll win that court battle with that subpoena and see President Clinton in October.
I hope so.
Okay. Now here, corporate news kicking into action. This is Harry Enton on CNN. It's so bizarre, this guy. You know, he always tries to both sides all issues. And here he is saying, you know, people are not talking about Epstein anymore. Google searches are down 89% relative to Donald Trump focusing on his Alaska trip with Putin. Here, play this clip.
I would say that this is, from at least a political point of view, quickly turning into a dud of a story. What am I talking about here?
Which is wild.
Which is wild. Which is
this has been for 3 weeks now.
Exactly. Take a look here. Google searches for Epstein down 89% versus just 3 weeks ago, falling through the floor. It is no longer the top term searched alongside Donald Trump's name. That's been trading off between Taros and Vladimir Putin, with obviously the meeting coming up later this week.
Let me be clear, Enton. The fact that people are searching now more, is Donald Trump going to surrender Ukraine without Ukraine being in a room with Vladimir Putin? Doesn't mean that people have forgotten or don't care about the Epstein files. Also, the Epstein files are not the number one issue on people's mind. The number one issue on people's mind is affordability, the ability to buy homes, our economy, stupid, peace throughout the world, education, healthcare, being able to live. But no, the Epstein link is there because it ties all of Donald Trump's lies together. Just to remind you as well, over the weekend, J.D. Vance tried the talking points as well. Here, play this clip.
I have to say, Maria, I laugh at the Democrats who are now all of a sudden so interested in the Epstein files. For 4 years, Joe Biden and the Democrats did absolutely nothing about this story. We know that Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of connections with left-wing politicians and left-wing billionaires. And now President Trump has demanded full transparency from this, and yet somehow the Democrats are attacking him and not the Biden administration, which did nothing for 4 years.
And here's J.D. Vance again trying these talking points again. Play this clip.
Was it the right move for Comer to send subpoenas to the Clintons?
It absolutely was, and it drives home how, while the Democrats have tried to make this Epstein thing about anything but, the fact that Democrat billionaires and Democrat political leaders went to Epstein Island all the time, who knows what they did, but it's totally reasonable to ask these questions. What you saw in the House's subpoena is they are trying to investigate all of the things related to this particular case. I know a lot of Americans want answers. I certainly want answers. And I think James Comer and the team of the House, they're doing the right thing. And of course, we know that Clinton, or allegedly he went to the island 26 times, 28 times. Totally appropriate for Comer to be asking what was going on at that island.
I just want to remind you, Ghislaine Maxwell's an oligarch, right? Her dad was Robert Maxwell, a total fraudster criminal who bankrupted the family, but he was friends with Trump because he was an oligarch at the time in the UK. Trump would go on his yacht. That's where Trump met Ghislaine Maxwell, she's like an heiress. So Donald Trump met her. She was dating Epstein. His businesses went bankrupt. They formed, they were thick as thieves. Maxwell, Epstein, Trump, they were as close. They were the crew. That was the crew. And they partied together. They hung out together. She knows everything about Trump, what went down at Mar-a-Lago. She sex trafficked people from Mar-a-Lago, like Virginia Giuffre, who she got at the spa. And more people likely as well, based on what Donald Trump said, that Epstein stole girls from the spa. But that's how Donald Trump's language was. But we know she sex trafficked people. She brought underage girls to Mar-a-Lago, and Epstein would point to them at Donald and say, you like this one? According to the Jane Does who testified at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. We know what happened. We know she knows the dirt. It's an interesting data point. She was trying to convince Biden to get a pardon, but Biden wouldn't do it. Because Biden was silly Biden for being law and order. Well, now we have this lawless authoritarianism covering for sex traffickers. That's the Trump regime for you. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thank you for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA Union made.